in detail, which generally by rules we have the election commission create, that we will follow these rules and this system we will follow. So as according, this is all you know, that when India was India during the independence, they have decided that they want an democratic system, and for that, for maintaining the sanctity of that democratic system, we need some body which, or a organization or a body or we can say, which basically look into the that how to maintain that sanctity. So while the election was, if you look into the first general election, I think it was in 52 or something, right? And after that, what happened? The this, because the body was already in the document, the Constitution of India, so the work has started from first election, and till now it is still working. And you all know that we have the concept of chief election commissioner is there, and after that there are election commissioners are there. So on that basis we have the different roles, and there are state election commissioners are also there. So this is basically in a way we can say is in a very much a system is created, and on that basis we can say that with there are concept of observers also. I will share one that slide which we'll able to see the uh, 1 minute. Yes. So are you able to see this particular slide? I will share the
Yes, sir.
slide after that. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
this
Yes,
is
sir.
the
Yes.
this is the structure of which I basically downloaded from internet. It is not like that I have created. I'm not so much of a creative person. So this is basically structure which I have downloaded from internet to basically teach you that this is a structure of election commission. Now, what are the structure? You can look into that. On the top of the there is chief election commissioner and other election commissioner. So that means here the hierarchy is not there. That means chief election commissioner there, and other two election commissioners are on equal footing. That means there is no difference. There was a case of TN session versus I think Union of India was the other party. In that particular case, it was decided by the Supreme Court that these there is no difference between chief election commissioner and election commissioner in sense of power, in sense of position. I will say that there is difference because the chief word is already written. So you can easily understand that concept that chief is there. But other so the hierarchy is not there. They are equal position, but somebody have to lead. So that person is a chief election commissioner on the basis of seniority basis. So now there are e-roll observers and there are observers also. You can look my cursor also, movement of cursor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So these are like e-roll observers are the basically person who will look into that how that particular the name of the person are in the rolls or not, how the this electoral rolls were created. Recently there was a news. I think most of you have heard about. There are two persons were arrested. One is from I think Saharanpur, and another person is from nearby West Bengal or near side I think Jharkhand or some place. These two person what they are doing, they've hacked the website of election commissioner, and all you know that now the process of making electoral card is as made online, you all know that. So what they have done, they have hacked the website and they have created more than 10,000 voter ID cards, and they were getting money for that. 1 minute, somebody is waiting. So they were getting money for that, and this was, we can say that this was a position of the that many fake cards were created, many fake electoral cards were created, and that particular disturbs also, and sometimes it creates a type of I mean say the structural damage to the election commission also. That means the hacking it I think it was in news, it was very highlighted. I think I am not too much connected with the this electronic media, but whatever I have heard about it, that in newspaper and all the things, so I got the idea that this system can be hacked, so that sanctity can be breached even of the website of election commission, which is very much developed by the National Informatics Center, NIC. So this is the basically, so he role observers role is to look into that what are these things, that means who are, whether the electoral rolls are perfect, whether people who are in this electoral rolls were whether uh, in genuine person or not, or whether there is repetition of person or not. So these things are basically the role of e-roll observers, and these people are not directly related to election commission. These are basically people who are not part of election commission, because you can't put any observer from your own institution to look into that. So these are people, qualified people from outside that election commission. Now there is a concept of observer. While you will look like for next year there is election of in UP, you will find that during that election there are few people who are appointed as observer. Who are these people? These people are not part of the election system. These are not returning officer, these are not presiding officer. Who are these people basically observe, and they just go as a common man. And these people, who are these people are basically gazetted officers from different institution. One of my friend who is teaching in Patna Law College, last year during the 2 years ago, or during some recent election, he went as an observer there, and his work was to just only to observe that how the election is going on, whether there is any breach of rules and regulation, where there is a people are whether legally they are voting or not, whether somebody else is voting for them. So these things are very much, this is the role of observer. So the observer, e-roll observer, and the deputy election commissioner observer, these all are in equal footing on the structure. Now when we move, these are basically observer which are related to state observer, and these, after that, there are observer who are also participating in the district elections also. So these observers send their representative, or sometimes they visit, because it is not possible for an observer of a state to visit every district or every center. So on the basis of different time frame, he try to visit, or otherwise he will send someone who is appointed by that person. Now the chief electoral officer is there in every state and in every union territory. So all you know that there is a role of chief electoral officer. Whatever problem the district election officer or the returning officer will face, he have to bring that matter to the chief electoral officer, and that person is from state, and there is an hierarchy. So that person will report to the center that this is the present situation, and there is some problem in the particular booth, and we have to take action according to that. So these are basically the hierarchy which we can have idea in this particular hierarchy system. After the chief electoral commissioner, there is a division. The division is district election officer, that is appellant officer, and district election officer and returning officer for parliamentary constituency. That means there are two category was created. The two categories, first is returning officer, or which you all know that what is the role of a returning officer. He is basically person who before the process of nomination is fulfilled by the returning officer, and these officers are appellant officer. For example, any uh, uh, illegal activity is occurred by or done by the returning officer, this can be done by, it can be looked into by the appellant officer. He will look into this particular matter. So there are the electoral registration officer are there. That means these people look into that how electoral rolls are created. For example, what is the cutoff date for making electoral rolls? You all know that what is the cutoff date, which I have discussed in the class also. Anyone? What is the cutoff date to making electoral rolls in our election system? Anyone, Jyotirmay? What is?
सर मेरे ख्याल से सर आपने 30 days बिफोर बताया था कि मतलब पूरे प्रिपेयर हो जाने चाहिए, मतलब
नहीं नहीं
इलेक्शन से।
that नहीं that is different thing. I am asking of cutoff date. That means on which date you are sure that from that date the election card will be created, electoral rolls will be created for that particular election. Every year 1st January, every year
Yes,
1st
yes,
January
sir, yes,
is
sir, yes, sir.
yes, is the cutoff date. That means on that day, and this is who will look into this particular thing? The electoral roll officers. These are electoral registration officer will look into this particular thing, that whether this activity was started in that, because in every district on 1st of January of that particular year, somebody, even a single person, will attain majority. That means 18 years. So whether the process for that only single person has started or not, it is the responsibility of the electoral registration person. Because if that person is not registered in electoral list, now what will happen? He will not able to give vote, and not giving vote is very one of the important things. You have heard about the Bhim Singh versus state of Jammu and Kashmir case. All of you have heard about Bhim Singh versus state of Jammu and
Yes, sir,
Kashmir.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That That was case. What was the case?
Sir, the case was basically of a MP who was not allowed to vote because of the like I guess it was some voter card issue. So that's why it's the
No, the person was not allowed to vote in the Vidhan Sabha of Jammu and Kashmir, and due to that reason, one less vote was given to that particular whatever bill they are going to pass or they are against that bill. So now that particular person said that there should be compensation, because here what will happen? Here was the damage was there, injury was there, injurious and damnum is there. So in that case, injury was there, but damages were not practical in nature. So this particular case was on that particular basis, Bhim Singh versus State of Jammu and Kashmir, and I think 50,000 compensation was given to that. I think you are also correct. It might be related to vote. I think in my mind it is related. I think it is voting related to Vidhan Sabha. So you might be correct
नहीं
also. I
सर,
think you some Ajay, what was the case?
सर लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली में वोट का केस था शायद सर.
Okay. I am also considering that only because I have the idea. This case was related to tort, and I think uh, so. This particular thing is that what is the important of electoral role, that if you are going to, for example, you have attained majority and you are going to for making any electoral card, and somebody is denying you that card, that means he will, what he is doing, he is the fundamental right you have given, that particular this fundamental, it is not fundamental right to vote, but at least it is constitutional right to vote. So he is denying you that right. So that is very much important. The role of this electoral registration officer come into picture. Returning officer for assembly constituency, you all know that there is voting system is going on, and the nomination is already started. The role of returning officer from first day, because he published the notification, and from the publication of notification, the role of returning officer started, and he will now take nomination. He will scrutinize the nomination. He will look into that how many people have withdrawn the nomination, and finally he will make a list before election that these people are basically people who are participating in this as a candidate in this particular election. So all you know that when there is an officer, there is assistant for that. So assistant electoral registration officer is also there, and assistant returning officer is also there. So these side, which is basically in the slide, you will find that the right side of this particular hierarchy, these people are related to, first of all, these people are related to before election procedure, and the left side of this particular slide, you will find these people are returning officer or presiding officer. These are people who are during the poll, are officers which are related to during the poll system. That means when the election has already started. So this is the division of the structure. That means designated officer, that means these people. BLO, block level officer, booth level officers. These BLO, booth level supervisor is there, then booth level officer was there. In assistant returning officer is there, then sectoral officers are there. Presiding and polling officer, these people are from outside. These people are not working for election commission, because, and you know that most of the structure which is there present in our election system, most of the people are from outside. These people are not from inside the election, because it is not possible, because every time what happen, every 5 year we have the election process most of the time, and otherwise we have what happen, for there are some election due to what we call due to some death of the MP or MLAs of that particular election. So there are election for that also. But in reality, when you look into that, the maximum period is 5 year gap. So that means a person have to, it is inside there, a role of people are there for every 5 year, each year they are, each day they are working. But in reality, when the election occurs, the real job is started. So the problem is that how to maintain so much of these people as a permanent employee. Is it possible? You can't do that, because if you do that, that expenditure will on the government, central government as well as the state government will share. So that is the critical problem, that we basically take people outside from other department and we appoint them as presiding officer. We appoint them, these people, as the booth level officer, and they look into that. Even people who are making cards, electoral cards, these people are basically the government teachers who go to each and every home, and they do these things because they are more educated and they look into this. uh, One of the suggestion which I want to basically, while teaching election law, I can suggest is that why not use these postmen to be part of that. If you appoint a good graduate people as a postman, that we can use his work as a part of making electoral rolls, so that the teacher who is basically leaving a school and is going for making electoral card will be basically be part of the education system. So I met one of many friends of mine is also teaching in these schools where they are facing this problem that each and every work which is related to state government is given to the teachers. And we are basically we can say we are good enough to be a part of a system where we are assistant professor and we are facing we are not getting that much of like work. But in reality, these permanent school teachers who are government employees are facing so much of problem. I think in your family also, or in your friend circle also, you will find that these people are involved in each and everything. They are cooking also. They are sending kids to like they are this different type of yojnas where basically the schemes were basically done by these teachers. So we have to salute these teachers. There are different things related to that also we'll not discuss in this class. So this particularly the position right now, the we what we basically want to convey that the role of election commission, the structure is so good, but the problem is the literacy. The problem is the how to basically apply these laws, because most of the laws in India are very good. You all know that, you are reading law for last 4 years, and you will find that the most of the laws are very good, but the problem is how to execute those laws. So same in the case of, we have evolved so much, there are so much of promotion ad and everything is to promote election. So but in reality you will find that when you go into deep into the some villages and where the, as Gandhi ji has said that the real India basically live in villages, when you go into that you will find that real India have no idea about what is rights, what is duties of the government. So they have no idea, so just go vote for their one person who has promised them there will be Indira Awas, there will be Pradhan Mantri Awas, and on that basis they generally vote. So this is basically the critique of our system, that we are unable to, is after the 70 years of our independence, we are unable to basically sensitize, or basically we are unable to educate people to their rights. That there is clinical legal aid committee of our school is also working on that. They go for different rights, they discuss different rights. And I think when you were studying public interest lawyering, there was project relating to that, that how to educate people about their rights. Not only there is category, gender is also there, that sometimes we have to give promote rights to the women also, that what are their rights, because they are not educated, they are housewives, they are housemaker. So basically what they have no idea that what rights are there. Even you, when you find that most of the people when go for voting, they, the one of the head of the family decide their votes. I think I think this is basically the mindset of India. I am just going critical in a way that what is there in reality. Somebody is saying that they will go for BJP, all family member, head of the family saying BJP, everybody BJP. Somebody is saying Congress, everybody is Congress. So this is the mindset. So we have to overhaul the system. We have to basically uh, fix this system, that how we can be before election, how we can promote, or we can basically educate uh, these people who are just had attained majority, or those people who are housemakers, to vote for the candidate they wanted to vote, not their head of the family. So this is basically the structure, which for half an hour I've given a speech on the that problems related to election commission, and I've also defined the structure also. So this is the present scenario, which I think most of you are agree on this particular term, that the situation is like that only. Now we will move. Now we will move to the theory part, that is related to that how this particular system works. So all you know that election commission we have to study, and I have written its powers, whether it we can say power, whether you can say its function. So the function are very diverse, and the this one of the important thing which I want to basically add in this particular thing is that the the election commission plays very much important role in maintaining democracy, and providing faith to the citizen of India. Even I am counting every problem, I am counting anything, everything in negative. Even then, there is something, some hope is there, where we can say that we are at least not Pakistan, we are at least not Afghanistan, because the election system has something good in that. Whether there can be critical comments on EVM, there can be many things related to that, but on that particular, because people comment And as an academician, we have to look into in every. I can't be a part of, I can't say that I am fully supporting BJP or I am fully supporting Congress or any XYZ party. The problem is that we have to look into that what is correct, and on that particular, everything should be with reason, because without reason you can't decide anything. So reason should be, your reason should be crystal clear, and if that is not clear, that will be problematic situation. So when you look into the power, Election Commission of India is a permanent constitutional body. It was established according with the constitution on 25th January 1950. That means 26 January we basically accept this. The structure powers of the Election Commission in supervisory arrangement for ensuring efficient and impartial functioning of the electoral machinery. That means the question here is that how to be part of election system, and that how this election system is working. The election system is working in a way that that particular system is providing efficient. It is efficient. Nobody can deny this, that Election Commission is not efficient, and it is impartial in some way. There can be critique. I am agree with the critique also, that they can critique, because critics are for that only, that they can critique on the something. So they are impartial functioning of electoral machinery for crucial importance to the working of electoral system, that any scheme of electoral reform would be largely ineffectual without certain essential changes in the commission structure and powers and more adequate system of supervision over the electoral machinery. That means whatever the structure is there, time to time there is need of changing that structure is also there, because if you are still attached to the ballot paper, there is, there can be different. Now the situation has changed. Now in the past, I think if I have the idea of law, I should have written something which is related to environmental law and the use of ballot paper, that how many trees were basically cut for that particular creating that paper. Now that present situation is not there. So in the past there might be, if you Google it, you will find that there might be, or I am not certain about that, but there might be some articles written on that Environmental Protection Act in, and how to protect trees in relation to election commission, or how, in the electoral rules or the creation of electoral ballot paper, you will find something on the internet or not. So this is basically a situation we have to overall, and we have to have evolve as an evolving system. From ballot paper we move to EVM, and when there was critique of EVM, we moved to VVPAT. VVPAT, that means whatever you are basically pressing on the EVM machine, that particular thing will be printed, and it will be basically where that particular print will go, it will go to the ballot box. That if there is any confusion related to that, and that is not for every, I think, button press. It is about 30 or 40% or 60% voted, because if you are doing that same thing, then why not introduce the ballot paper? So these things are very much part of the system, and evolution is part of the system. And what, and the last class what Ekta was saying, that why not their system of electoral, the internet voting system is not there, sir. And I am suggesting more than that, why not there is a system of biometric voting, because we by biometrics most of the, we can say, authentic thing right now, or retina, we have Aadhaar already, we have the details of the people already. But because the reason is that what I've said on that class also, that the reason is corruption. By paying 100, 2,000, 4,000 rupees, anybody can have their Aadhaar. And so that is the reason that we are unable to establish this particular this rule right now. We are still stagnant to the EVM only. That means we will part of the EVM system, we will support EVM and the VVPAT system also. So when you look into under clause 3 of article 324, it is further provided that when any other election commissioner is appointed, the chief election commissioner will act as chairman of the election commission. That means when new any election commissioner is appointed, that the chief election commissioner will act as chairman of election. That means there are three people and one is chairman of that board, because he's the senior most, so he will be the chairman of the election commission. The constitution has ensured that the chief election commission shall perform his duty uninfluenced by party or political consideration and free from executive interferences. That means he is a apolitical person. He is not part of any politics system, and due to that reason, we can say that uh, uh, his work is limited to him. He should be impartial always. That means he should not be biased to any party, which generally most of the opposition basically say that this new chief election commissioner is supporting this party or that party. So that is basically the structure is itself is saying that the person is impartial. It should be him. He should be impartial to some XYZ parties. But you can't say in a way that there can be situation where there might be some biasness, because it depends on the person to person. So another things which is related to is that the commission hasn't already know that the commission has a separate secretariat at New Delhi consisting of about 300 officials in a hierarchical setup. This particular hierarchy is there because there is chief election commissioner, election commission, deputy election commissioner. So they have a hierarchy system is already there. The three deputy election commissioner who were the senior most officer in the secretariat are generally appointed with the tenure for national civil service of the country to assist the commission. That means there are three deputy election commissioners were appointed, and these were from where these were appointed. There is no different cadre. These are basically IAS officers who have worked in state election commissioner or some XYZ places. We have some idea about election, and there are people who are also, some people are educated in, I think, from political science have background. They are from have some good degree, PhDs from Harvard, Oxford, political science degrees. So these people are basically brought into this particular deputy election commissioner position. But when you will become IS, you will find that there are lots of opportunity to be a part of some reputed, or we can say prestigious universities, because government provides some type of support to these people. If you want to go outside, if you want to study, you will find that many IS officers, when you visit the profile of these people, whether on Facebook or LinkedIn, you will find that these people have so much of good qualification. So the government support. So these people are basically used for whether for the post of RBI governor, deputy governor, or for this type of activities. These people are basically used for that purpose. So these deputy election commissioners are there, hierarchy system is there, and these people are from national civil services. That means these people are from background of IS, and it is related to the civil services. It should not be like that the people is working in military, the chief of military staff is there, and that person will be bring into to be a part of chief election commission or deputy election commission. So that is also one of the factor. The director, principal secretaries, secretaries, under secretaries, and deputy directors support the deputy election commissioner. There is a functional and territorial distribution of work in the commission. The work is organized in division, branches, and section, and each section has complete complement of staff consisting of section officer, a number of assistants, upper division clerk, lower division clerk, and group D staff. That means this is total structure. And for a population of a country which having population of 130 crore and 1.3 billion people, the staff strength is only 300. So much for conducting election, we only need 300. Jyotirmay, you have any question? Jyotirmay?
No, sir. No, sir. No,
So
sir.
I think you are traveling, so your mic is unmuted for some reason.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. No, sir. Actually, आज रात को ट्रेन से अभी तो I'm not traveling.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So no problem. So that is the situation, that the strength of the employees are less, but they are active, they are working, and there is a hierarchy system is there. So from top position to the lower position, everybody is involved in, and they are working from the secretariat in New Delhi. So the secretariat have 300 officials. About the structure is that they have not the certain certainty. We can't say that these are only 300 or 305 or 400, but at least uh, we can say that the approx 300 people are working in the this particular election commission. The secretariat of the commission has an independent budget which is finalized directly in consultation between the commission and the finance ministry of union government. That means they need money to conduct election, and they need money to survive also. So there is an independent budget system is there, and it is basically it is created by with the consultation of finance ministry. That means no role of parliament is in direct in nature in this particular process of the budget allotment. The major expenditure on the actual conduct of election is, however, reflected in the budget of the concerned constituent unit of the union state and union territory. That means for conducting these, the budget related to this is decided by way of by Ministry of Finance with the officers related to election commission. But the budget related to conduct of that particular election will be decided by union and state and union territory. That means by their constituent units. That means the first budget is related to only to how to survive, for the payment, for the other things consideration, for the secretariat staff. And the other side of the, when you look into that, how this particular the process of budget of the election, you will find that that is in constituent unit of union, state, and union territory. If election are being held only for parliament, the expenditure is borne entirely by the union government. While for the election being held only for the state legislature, the expenditure is borne entirely by the concerned state. That means what they are basically trying to say, that if there is a national level election, that is we what we can say that parliament election, or which we can say Lok Sabha election, in Lok Sabha total cost will basically borne by the central government. Whatever the cost of the election is borne by the central government. And if there is an election in the legislative assembly in any particular state, the expenditure will be used for that particular conduction of that is in that election. So in case of simultaneous election to the parliament and state legislature, the expenditure is shared equally between the union and the state government. That means if if any uh, election where there are election which is basically conducted while the state election is going on, as well as while the central election is going on, in that case these expenditure will shared by the central as well as the state government. So with the suggestion of the, like, before last election, it was that why not conduct the Lok Sabha election as well as the Vidhan Sabha election combinedly. So by this, what will happen? We have less expenditure, because when you are voting for, at the same time you will vote for the Vidhan Sabha, at the same booth you will able to vote for the Lok Sabha election. So but many parties, what happened? Many parties were not agreed on the term, because the problem was that some parties were elected last year, and we were saying that there should be again an election will be there after 1 year only. They will not, because there is 5 year to basically use that particular position. So they denied this, but most of the parties have denied this. And due to this reason, this particular the one time election, the concept one time election was basically famous, and there was some very people were writing on this particular topic also, that one time election where you have to vote at the same time, you will vote for the Lok Sabha, at the same time you will vote for the Vidhan Sabha. The expenditure will be shared by the central as well the state government, plus the expenditure will be less. The role of election commission will be more at that time, but at least the whatever result will come, it will be in a way we can say the more democratic setup, and there can be problem related to that also. There can be, and there the situation can be different also, and there are chances that it will well for the on economic background, you can say that that will be good, but it can be the different structure, they decided something else, so it was not finalized. For capital equipment expenditure related to preparation of electoral rolls and the scheme of electoral photo identity card too, the expenditure is shared equally. That means, for example, if there is the, for some setup was made in this in particular state, in particular district, to create electoral rolls, the same election ID used for Lok Sabha election, the same election ID is used for, now the election ID is improved, they have the good election card they have now created, electoral card they have created. So now this expenditure, the capital expenditure related to uh, pre-poll activities are shared by the state and the central government. So this is very much important, that whatever amount is there pre-poll, not post-poll. Pre-poll are basically are adjusted between the central and the state. That means creation of cards, photo identity card, making at least they will give some tender for that, or they will have they have the printing system for that. So these are the expenditure which is related to will be shared. The territorial work is distributed among separate units responsible for different zones, in which the 36 constituent states now and union territories, the situation is changed. I think one or two have less. So they are totally saying if they have included union territory also, and they have included state also. So on that basis, this they have said that they have, on the basis of they have created zones. That means this will come into this zone, this will come into this zone, and they have distributed their work on that basis. So and now at the state level, the election work is supervised subject to overall superintendent's direction, control of commission by the chief electoral officer, CEO of the state, who is appointed by the commission among the senior civil servants proposed by the concerned state government. That means there is a concept of a chief election commissioner, that is of for the state, the chief electoral officer, who will be appointed by the election commission, the chief election commissioner, who is leading, who is the chief election commissioner of India, and that person name is shared by the concerned state government. That means he's the senior most judge. So senior most judge, not, he's senior most IAS officer, and is a government employee, and the name is shared by the state government. For example, if there is a need of appointment of some election commissioner in UP, so the state government of UP will share the name to the election commissioner, and when election commissioner verify his name, he will be appointed as the state election commissioner for the time being, for that conducting that election, or for the tenure of that particular person. So this is basically in relation to the structure which is related to state government. At the district and constituency level, the district election officer, DEO, electoral registration officer, ERO, and the returning officer were assisted by large number of junior functionaries perform election work. That means these people are assisted by so many workers who are people who are part of this particular election system. That means district election officer is there, electoral registration ERO is there, and returning officer is there. They all perform their function related to election in addition to their other responsibilities. That means these people have other responsibility related to that. That means what I was saying, that these people may have from different working in different area, and they are appointed in the election commission. So uh, the situation can be that some person who is a principal in some school, he might be working as an registration officer, that is the district election officer. So other responsibilities also there. During election time, however, they are available to commission more or less on full time basis. The huge task force conducting countrywide general election consists of nearly 5 million polling personnel and civil police forces. That means it is an approx criteria, that is 5 million people are required for conducting an election in India. So this is the amount of people required to conduct election. It is related to the civil persons as well as the polling person as well as the civil police included in that. So this is basically an idea which we can get, that these people are basically be part of that particular election process. So and what happens sometimes, the elections sometimes were conducted in phase manner. If you take into consideration the Lok Sabha election, or the for some important state some election, you will look into that. These elections sometimes take more than 1 month or more than 2 month approx. That means the dates are shared accordingly, because we have to move forces here and there. We have to move the people, the machine, all the things from here to there. So these things are very much important to how to have these people work continuously for 1 or 2 months for only for the conducting election. So this is very much important how these people are. We can also say in a way these are unsung heroes. We can say that, and we you have the idea that I always, when I am teaching election law, I say that you have watched the this um, movie Newton or not. I think I was in the last class also. Have you watched after that Newton movie or not? Anyone? Jyotirmay has watched, he said in the last class. Please watch before next class. Watch if it is accessible. Uh, uh, the Newton movie. I think it is available in Amazon or anywhere on Prime or anywhere. You will find that, and please go. I am not saying that movie is the storyline is different in a way, but that is more important. The storyline is about how a person who is working to be part of the, look into that particular movie, you will find that he is basically a teacher or something, some officer from a different place, and he is sent to a place to be an electoral officer. So this is a situation you will find in that movie also. And you might be thinking that why sir is asking for watching movies, because that movie will basically give you a practical aspect of how this election system is working. Whatever I'm teaching you, this is theory in nature, but you will find the. I think Jyotir may comment more properly, because as a student he watched the movie and before studying election law. So I think he will have the more idea relating to that. So this is an in a system you must watch something if it is good in nature. I will not suggest in every topic that you should watch movie. I've never suggested in public international law. But in election law, you have to. I think you can watch one movie that is Newton. So this is basically the structure. These people are unsung heroes. They have work. They are working in their regular role as well as they are working in the election commission also as a substitute for many people. So there is a separate administrative machinery for electoral roll management and separate administrative machinery for conducting election also. That means there are two structures are there, and you will find that while the election process started or the notification started, the the people have a fear in mind that where I will get this time, where I will be presiding officer, where I will be appointed as returning officer, where I will be a part of the election system, and they have very much. Sometimes they take leave on the basis of their medical issues or something. You will find so many things there. So these people are looking into all the power of that particular is is basically of that government will seize. Nobody can take action, and now only the election commission have power to take action. You also find that sometimes election commission change the ssp sp of that area, dm of that area. This is the power of election commission during election. They can change anybody, they can place anybody from here to there only on the basis that this particular person can have favor, can give favor to some xyz party. So this is the power of election commission. I think you have many times I have looked into different news channel, and you will find during the election that these things they can do. They raid places. They use this police machinery to basically try to point if something illegal is going on, they try to basically stop that. So this is this particular system is possible due to an a proper structure of administrative system, and the administrative system is divided in a way. Before election administrative system is there, and after election administrative system is also there. So these two different bodies are looking into in different way. Before election, what they have to do, they have to made electoral roll, they have to made electoral card, they have to verify that each and every person is residing in that area or not. And after they can remove name, they can add name. And after election, what they do, they basically they the nomination procedure start, withdrawal start, scrutiny done. After that, what they do, the election conducted, and after that they wait for the final day on the counting of the votes, and after they declare the result and they send the result to the election commission. That these they basically send the result to the parliament, and this of the secretary of the parliament, and in the legislative assembly to the secretary of the legislative assembly. To these people were elected one. So this is the role before and after election. It The structure is so sound, you can't comment on the structure. Constitutional status, you can't count on that that is very much important. Sufficient constitutional and legal authority you are provided, essential for building up effective institution. That means these things are already provided, but it is the choice of the person who finally operates the system that really matters, which I want to convey before that. It is we can't question that who is the chief election commissioner, deputy election commissioner, or whatever person is there. It is the responsibility of the person to have faithful to his profession, and he have to that, because most of the people have faith on the election commission, that the election commission is conducting whatever election they are conducting in unbiased manner. So that is very much important. The integrity is very much important. It is not about that who is participating, who is there, whether he is a relative of the election commissioner, whether he is not relative of the election commissioner. Nothing is we can't say, but what is the matter, that the finally that most important thing which really matters, that the democracy should survive. Because if the democracy will collapse, the problem will start from there only. We can critique, we can say anything, but when there is a problem in democracy, then we will face very difficulty, because the problem is that it will basically cut the roots of the system. Because if you go outside India, and you will find that most of the people are respecting India. The reason is that we are able to establish democracy after independence till 70 years. Many people, many critics were there, while many critics are still there, who said that, or who are saying that after independence India would have collapsed, because the most of the opportunities were gone. British has already have tried to take most of the benefits, and after that they have left India. So that is, after that, surviving this particular time frame is very much important, and we have survived due to that reason. We should basically give our respect to the people who have drafted our constitution. But whatever they have drafted in unique way. There are criticism of that. I can also critique on different things, but the reason the what we should have to accept that we have survived due to only that reason, that we have an democracy. I, there are incidences, minor incidences are there. I will not say that there is not, but at least we are surviving. We are not in next Pakistan or Afghanistan or Syria. We are at least more safe than, we can say, in a way we are more safe than particular that country. So this is very much important. Essential that the choice of the person to appointed as chief election commissioner shall made strictly on the basis of merits, caliber, competence, and integrity. Whoever is appointed is appointed by way of that he is a good enough person to look into the this to structure of, like, he will maintain the structure of election commission. He will able to deliver what is provided to them, and this is very much important. Appointment of chief election commissioner as well as other person of election commission needs extra care so that the democracy can survive in our country. This is very much, you are appointing someone. For example, you are going for your surgery. Who will you ask to do your surgery? The best person, best surgeon of that particular town, particular district, or particular country. So in a way we can say that when you need somebody to be a part to the structure of election commission and to be part of a democracy, you will always have to look into that. You don't have to be biased. You have to appoint that person who have a competence to look into that particular matter. So this is very much important while appointing that person. Now we'll move forward and to look into that what are the powers and function of the Election Commission of India, that is derived under Article 324 of the Indian Constitution. The legislation relating to the election and the rules and order issued under the Constitution or under the legislation enacted by the Parliament. The most essential requisite of free and fair election is that elections should be conducted by an independent, impartial authority who can act as guardian of the entire election machinery, and the task of conducting free and fair election been assigned to the Election Commission of India. That means the concept which I have during the this particular election process, I have discussed many times that the free and fair election. If any election is not free and fair, you can take that particular election in question. That means you can make that what you have the election dispute, and you take the election petition. You can file the election petition and say that this particular candidate is elected by way of fake votes, by way of other activities related to election, and this person is not rightly elected person. So you can take that matter to the high court, and that high court have to take decision accordingly. So this is basically what the uniqueness of our system is, that we try to have an election system where that whatever conduct they are doing, it should be free and fair. That means it should be free from what? Free, that means it is not free like on cost. It is free from any we can say coercion. It should be free, that any consent we swear. I want to vote to this party. Whether that particular party is have only one vote, I will give that to that party. So this is free. You can choose your candidate. You can choose your voting system. So everything, that means you can vote to that person. Nobody can influence you to vote somebody else. So this is basically free. Fair means, that means if every candidate is participating in that election, every candidate should be given equal opportunities. It is not like that if a former PM is contesting election, you will give more privilege to that person. It is not like that. Each and every person is candidate in your view, and that person should be given that equal opportunity that you are given to that another person. So equality should be there, and that equality, so that free and fair means it should be fair accordingly. You will not support an party, you will not support an candidate, you will not support any other machinery. You will only support the election machinery. The plenary powers vested in the election commission by the constitution for the conduct of election are supplemented further by the acts of parliament, namely representation of people act 1950 and 51, and the presidential and vice presidential election act 1952, the government of union territory act 1963, the Delhi administration act of 1966, and the rules or orders made thereunder, that which I have already said, that these are the important acts 50-51, I have said already. When we will study the election of president and vice president, that the second act will be important. And the government of union territory, that means when there is election in union territory, we will discuss that part also, that how the election of union territory is basically held. And there are rules and regulations for that also. That means it is not like that the by act only we can say that these things are available. We have to look into the other things related to that also. That means the rules are there, many rules were created. You can't say anything everything. What we basically do, uh, when I'm saying that some then some essential power were given to the election commission, that if they want to make rules they can do. So these power were vested in the election commission, that you can have the access to make rules, you can create your own rules, and for the proper function of your election commission. That means these powers are vested by the parliament, because if this power is given to the parliament, that situation will be different. Because if every time you need the access of parliament to make changes in your rules, so that will be critical. Because you are what you are expecting from election commission. You are expecting that election commission should be an independent body, but you have given powers to the parliament to make rules for them. That will basically, that inherent power, the inherent power should be there. Inherent power is for high courts also. Inherent power is given to the high court, that they can decide their rules. Inherent power is given to the supreme court, that the supreme court if want they can decide things related to, they have the rules related to that, they are creating rules for that. So as in the same way, there are rules and orders which can be created by the election commission also, by and there are acts also for supporting that. The representation of people act 50-51 is there. So these acts are supportive element of the rules. Under Article 324 of the Indian Constitution, the powers of the Commission are meant to supplement rather than to supplant the law in the matter of superintendence, direction, and control as provided by Article 324, and therefore that power does not prevail over the acts passed by the Parliament. That means if the role of the power which is given to the election commission is to only supplementary in nature. You can't say that by using that power you can enhance your power, and you can uh, uh, you basically degrade the parliament. So the your power of making laws, your power of superintendence, your power of direction, or your power of control is for supporting 324. It is not about that you are above the 324, you will now make your own rules. It is for the support system. It is not like that you will prevail. Whatever act, whatever power is there, you will prevail over parliament. It is limited in nature. Whatever things you are doing rightful way, legal way, that will be supportive. The parliament will also support that. But by using your power, you are trying to enact something which is different from what is parliament is preaching or making. That will be a difficult situation. So that is also very much important. In this context, the provision contained in section 15 of the Representation of People Act 1951 vests the power of notifying the date of commencement of election in the governor. If the governor is prepared to notify the date of election, the recommendatory body with the election commission cannot refuse to recommend the date of election under any pretext. That means this particular section of 15 of the Representation of People Act 1951 is saying that if governor wants to give notification that from this date the election can be conducted and this is the time frame for nomination, the election commission can give suggestion to the governor, but governor will decide that matter. That means only recommendation matters. You can't say that the governor have to only take that recommendation. He You can't compel governor, election commission can't compel governor to appoint another date. So this particular thing is very much important. So as per section 15 of Representation of People's Act, the date of election is given by the governor, not by the election commission. And election commission only recommend the date and governor will take that particular date. It is not like that whatever date the election commission has given, it is compulsory for the governor to take that date. So it depends on the that governor to whether he want to take that particular case or not. Can we have 5 minute break? After that I can continue because I am speaking for last 1 hour. So if you have any
Yes.
5 minutes, I will take water and I will again start the. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
Okay. So in this particular, when the governor is taking that particular recommendation and he want to give the particular date to that, this from this date the nomination will start. If that particular issue is in a way that the power of the election commission, which is given in article 324 of the constitution, are recommendatory value. That means if the governor has decided, if there is in type of an contingency where the governor has considered that the election to be imminent in nature, that means it is required for that thing, it would be supplanting the provision of section 15 of the Representation of People Act. That means the Representation of People Act 51, we say about that for giving date, that will be removed or replaced by the order of the governor. That means the order of the governor has given more priority over what is given in section 15. So 324 cannot be stressed enough that it will take the power of the governor. So governor can give the date if the governor feels that particular thing is at very much important. The date of election is very much important. So if there is a clash between the section 15 of Representation of People Act 51 and the orders of the order of the governor will prevail. And as for even for article 324, it can't be stressed so much that it can reduce the power of the governor. So this is very much important in relation to that, that whatever decisions the party this election commission takes as per the Representation of People's Act, these decisions should not overrule the parliament decision. So this is very much important because you can't give so much power. So you all know that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So this is very much important in relation to that. Whatever you are saying, if you give more power to them, that will also be not practically, that is impossible to give so much power. It will also difficult because you will and after that you will unable to maintain this thing. And another thing is that if you give less power, that will also, because that after that what the election commission will not able to work properly. So if you look into under article 174 clause 1 of the constitution, the governor is required to summon the house of the legislature of the state to meet at such time and place as he thinks fit, but 6 months should not be intervened between this last sitting in one session and the date appointed for first sitting in the next session. So it is related to that the power of governor is so much important in the basically deciding the date of election also, because it sometimes supersedes the power which is given under the to the election commission under the Representation of People's Act of 1951. If the elections are postponed, compliance with the provision of Article 174, Clause 1 of the Constitution of India would become impossible. So this is very much important because what will happen if if there is a class and it is a contingency is there where there is a clash between the election commission and the governor, and what will happen because if the date of election is not decided, so that particular problem will be that the application of section article 174 1 will be difficult, because the governor will be unable to uh, because now the governor is only person who can bring these people together. That means a meeting he can ask for, just like the president have the power to ask the parliament, a joint sitting can be allowed. So in same way when this particular situation will be there, the election commission has no power, and the governor will say that as I have given the date of election, now I will not arrange any meeting, I will not extend this possibility of having the extension of this particular legislative assembly. The election commission is under constitutional duty to conduct the election at the earliest on the completion of the term of legislative assembly on dissolution or otherwise. That means if that term is already ended or after the dissolution of the legislative assembly, the election commission under constitutional duty to conduct election. That means the power of governor is above while deciding date of the election. If there is any impediment in conducting free and fair election, it can draw upon all the requisite resources of union and state within its command to ensure free and fair election. Any man-made attempt to obstruct free and fair election is antithesis to the democratic norms. That means whatever is there, if for example election commission is there is a truce between election commission, and that means we want to have an argument with the governor that we that we don't have the access or the resources to conduct election right now, because if there will be an election, the election will be not free and fair. The governor will give order to the state election commission, that conduct election by arranging the means and resources from the central government, and from that you have to conduct election. You can't give excuses, because if you are not, even if the resources is provided by the central government, and if the election commission is not taking that in consideration, what you are doing, you are basically you are destroying the democratic norms. That means if the date of the legislative assembly is dissolved, or the term is already ended, you have to conduct election as per the governor, if the governor has given the date. And is but this type of things not happen, because what happen, whatever date the election commission gives, the governor take that particular into consideration. So this type of situation is not there, even though the law is already up to the mark. They have already have idea about that there can be this type of situation, so they have pointed out these things in this particular structure, which is a representation of people act, or other laws related to that. If and when election commission finds law and order situation difficult, it can only require sufficient number of security forces to be deployed, but postponement of election is hardly a remedy for that. That means you can't avoid election. That's why in the COVID period also, you have find that there was election in Bihar. Bihar election was, I think, during the COVID period only. So these type of things you find that, and there was many critique of that also, that why there is no COVID right now, and all the things were there at the time. So whenever this type of situation is there, election is we can say of paramount nature. That means the election should be held in a proper time, and you can't say that this particular election can't be there. That means a date should be there, and on particular date, until and unless some natural calamities come, some situation is very worse, on that way you can basically delay the election. But most of the time you have to consider that you have to take consider the date of election very much important, because you have the term of the next government will start after the end of that election, and after the result of the election. It would be better if a mechanism is devised to settle such dispute which may arise between election commission and state government or central government. The superintendent's direction and control of election to the parliament, to the legislature of every state, to the offices of the president, vice president of India, have been vested in the election commission. According to the registration of election rules 1960, the conduct of election rules 1961, the election commission of India has to perform following function to discharge its duties. That means the following functions they have to basically use to discharge their duties. That means the different functions were given to the election commission, and these uh, elections, whatever, even it is related to elections of the parliament, is it legislature of every state, to the offices of even president and vice president, is vested in the election commission. So election commission have rules related to that, and they are conducting elections in very proper, we can say, in a proper manner, and in free and fair elections they are conducting till now. The Constitution Amendment Act of 1993 made Election Commission to be multi-member body. It currently consists of Chief Election Commissioner and 2 election commissioner. The Election Commission is now functioning as a multi-member commission comprising the Chief Election Commissioner, 2 election commissioner from 1st October 1993. That means before that there was election commissioner were there and deputy election commissioners were there. So now they have appointed the election commissioners also in this particular structure after the 1993. The Election Commission has submitted its proposal to the Government of India in July 1919 on the electoral reforms to fix at least 3 democratic setup, and expressed satisfaction in July 2004. The Commission has also recommended that the election commissioners should also be given equal protection under the Constitution in the matter of their condition of service and removability from the office as available to the Chief Election Commissioner. That means they have demanded for more strength to the government, to the election commission, so that they are able to conduct election is more free and fair. That means they are not saying that only the president has power to remove the chief election commissioner, and appointment is also with the president. So the same privileges should be given to the other election commissioners. The 2 other election commissioners should be given the same privileges which they have asked for they have demanded with the government, that these changes should be made in the 324, so that more powers to be given to the election commission, so that they can easily they have more power, so that they can have free and fair, they can able to conduct free and fair election. So they basically try to they have tried to give this thing. Now, what are the functions of the election commission? The first function, as you all know, which I have discussed during the election process, that preparation of electoral rolls. That means the need that if your name is not in the list, you can't vote. And if you can't vote, most if that situation is there, then what will happen? That free and fair election concept will basically be the basis of election commission. If you say that what is motto of election commission, the motto of election commission is that free and fair election. Now, what is free and fair, which I have discussed a few minutes ago, that these things are in relation to that. If you are if you are having not an electoral roll, your name is not there in the electoral roll, that will be problematic situation. So the most important thing is the preparation of electoral rolls, that should be in a proper way. That means the name should every person name is there. It is not on the basis of it is the discrimination is not there on the basis of race, on the basis of caste, on the basis of sex. Age is there, 18 years is there, but after that nothing is there. If somebody is poor, somebody is homeless, nothing can be counted as that as an exception, that you will not give electoral rolls name to those person. So this is very much important. So article 325 of the constitution lays down that there shall be one general electoral roll for every territorial constituency. That means it is not like the division is there, that this is for Lok Sabha, this is for Vidhan Sabha. It is totally one electoral roll be there. And preparation of electoral rolls based on, it should not be based on religion, caste, sex, is or it should be forbidden, which is right now what is going in Bihar right now. They are trying to convince the central government that a consensus should be done on the caste basis. Now, why they want to do that? The reason they are giving that on that basis they can give reservation to these people, or they will provide benefits to these people according to their population. But the other thing, which the I think the inside problem is that, or the inside theory of that particular thing, that how to appease those people to give vote. For example, if the Bihar government has idea that these people are from this caste, this caste, this caste, so they will appease them with this type of benefits. So these, I think, the main motto is there, but what they are basically promoting, that they will able to give proper benefits. The benefits will be only on the basis of caste and this thing. So electoral rolls, there is nothing like that. There is no any you can't have an exception on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, but age is there. The preparation and maintenance of complete accurate electorals are essential prerequisite for holding elections. That means it is very much important. Without that, you will can't say the election can go on. So, and under article 326 of the constitution, the electoral rolls must be prepared correctly for all eligible voters, irrespective of their religion, race, caste, sex, and to hold free and fair election. So that is very much important. As per section 13D, 1527 clause 2, 27 clause 4 of Representation of People's Act 1950, the electoral rolls should be prepared for all parliamentary assembly, council and constitution. That means this, for every place, for every constituency, the electoral rules should be created. So it's as per the Representation of People Act 1950. The Election Commission of India has to prepare for identification, up to update the list of all the person who are entitled to voting in the election. That means all the details should be provided, all the details of that particular person will be updated list. That means that why the cutoff date is mentioned, that every year on 1st January the cutoff date is for making electoral cards. So that is very much important, that without that thing it is impossible. You can't say that a free and fair election will be there. For example, if you remove people by influencing people that these people are from this background or this caste, he will vote only for these people, this XYZ party, and you will remove that name of those people. Now that will be not free and fair election. So free and fair election, that means each and every person, without on the basis of religion, caste, sex, you have to make electoral rolls, you have to make electoral cards for that. Okay. So now, conduct of poll, that means one of the important function that for free and fair election is that the conduct of poll. That means how the election is basically completed, how the election you should have done. The process which I have discussed, the process, I think most of the idea that what is the process of election, that is the date will be notified. After that, the the nomination will start. After that, there will be scrutiny, and after that, there will be withdrawal of nomination. After that, if some candidate from an recognized party died, so there is a process of nomination. After that, the election will be conducted, and during that election, if natural calamities is there, if there is booth capturing, if there is anything related which is illegal in nature of conducting election, so the re-election will be allotted in this particular area, and after that the result will come out. So this is basically election process. So the election commission role is to conduct poll, and to conduct poll in a way so that it should be free and fair. That means whatever things are there, it should be free and fair. And if that election commission is not finding that thing is free and fair, then they will give time to recreate that situation. So now this is basically which the idea which I want to give, and which is already I have discussed in the previous classes also. So this is the conduct of poll is there. I think we have the idea regarding that. You have already now recognition of political parties. That how to recognize which party is a state party, or which party is regional party, which party is national party. These powers is also given to the election commission. Recognition of political parties. One of the important function of election commission is to recognize political parties as all India or state political parties. That on that particular basis they get their. For example, if some party is national party, so that particular party have the offices in Delhi. If some party is not national level parties, so how they identify? They identify with the basis of previous voting. I will discuss that thing also. That how the last year those parties have got votes in previous election. On that basis, they identify that this party is an national party, this party is a state party. So on that basis, they decide, and they give places for the on lease. They give places for the head. For making headquarters also. So if any general election in a particular party gets 4% of votes polled in any 4 states, it is recognized as all India party. That means if in any general election in 4 states, any party get 4% votes total. For example, in 4 states the election they are basically contesting. For example, I am giving an example of AAP. AAP is an Aam Aadmi party, which is basically which, for example, they are contesting election in every state. In Gujarat also they want to. In Punjab also they wanted. Now whether AAP is a national party or not, if they will look into the or if you take Shiv Sena, or if you take Manse, Maharashtra Nav Nirman Sena, if you take Samajwadi Party, if you take VSP, you will find that these parties are basically national party. But few parties are not. I think MNS is not a state national party. It is an state party. Why? The reason is that they look into the previous election result, and they identify that they look into if there is they have contested election in 4 states. They will look into that either they have got 4% vote of the total votes or not. So if they have got 4% vote, so on that basis you can say that uh, these parties on that basis you can say these is all India or state political parties, all India or state. So if in general election a particular party gets 4% vote, it is recognized as all India party. If a party gets 4% votes in a state or a region, it is recognized as a state or regional party. So election commission has to register the political parties in accordance with the provision of section 29A of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951. The final decision regarding the registration of political party shall be based on subsection 29A of Representation of People Act. The election commission has to act quasi-judicially and so has to follow principles of natural justice while registering a political party. That means they have to look into the 4% criteria. That means if some parties are regional, they want to become a regional party, they will look into the 4% criteria of that. If some party want to be an all India party, so they will look into the percentage of votes in 4 states which they have contested in last previous election. So this is the criteria which they generally conclude, and which they generally try to put out in this particular uh, while recognizing these political parties. So this is very much important because if you not giving recognition to some political party, for example, if you some party is all in, you are not seeing that this party is a national level party, so they will not able to put those people on some low. For example, there is a Lok Sabha election, so they will unable to contest from those that particular election because these parties is not all India party, it is only state level party. So it will only contest in state level election like Vidhan Sabha. They will not able to participate in. So natural justice they have to follow. If something is there, so on that basis they can easily say that this. On that basis they can easily say that this party is a national party or the we can say state political party. Now allotment of symbols is very much important, which is very much important factor in India, because most of the people are unable to identify because due of the name, because they are illiterate. So from the images they are able to identify their candidate. So we have the famous symbols, all you know, the hand is there, that Kamal Fool is there, the cycle is there, the Hathi is there, the Jhadu is there. So these are basically the symbols. So who give the allotment to these single symbols? These symbols are basically given by the Election Commission. So under Rule 5 of the Conduct of Election Rule 1961, the Election Commission is to authorize to specify symbols that may be chosen by candidate at the election in parliamentary and assembly constituency, and the restriction are to which their choice shall be subjected by publishing a notification in the Gazette of India in the official gazette of each state. By clause 5 of the section 29 of the Representation of Peoples Act 51 and Rule 5 and 10 of the Conduct of Election 1961 regarding election symbols, reservation and allotment order of 1968, symbols have been classified as reserved symbols and free symbol. After giving hearing, it will decide whether the newly formed party should be national party or state party to be allotted, and the power of issue symbol order is comprehended in the power of superintendence direction control of election vested in the commission. That means the election commission has given power to give symbols to the party. Sometimes the party want that particular symbol, for example, we want jhadu as a symbol, and sometimes what happen, these some symbols are basically avoided by the election commission. For example, I think the gun they will not give. They give something which is related to the culture of India, which is related to some activities. Farmers, they have the CPIM, you have the that particular uh, um, X, what we call that particular thing in uh, uh, they have used basically for cutting grasses, that they basically use for that thing. So I'm forgetting their name right now due to that particular thing they use for that thing. The CPIM is there. For other parties, the Jhadu, very much Aam Aadmi Party, you all know. The Kamal, you already know, BJP is there. For hand, it is already Congress is there. Congress hand is in independence, and right now also the hand of Congress is here. So these are important political symbols which we can say. So you can't ask for these symbols because these are already allotted to some party, and so you can't ask these. And some which are basically which basically represent in India negative way, that symbols you can also can't ask. But you can ask for normal mobile, umbrella, laptop, pen, pencil. These type of symbols is basically allotment of symbols is given by the election commission. So one of the powers which we can say or function of the election commission is to give symbols also. Sometimes people want general type of symbols, because illiterate people, what they will look, they will find that these symbols are very common in nature, so they will take that particular jhadu. The all you know, the what is the reason to be that using broom as an Aam Aadmi Party, because they were basically here to remove the corruption. So they have used this particular thing as an symbol. So everything they BJP, I think the concept was to that something Kamal should be in like mud. It is basically trying to create, or Hath is for that. That can be another reason for hand, I think. So everything is related to. I have no idea about these two things about the elephant and the this particular what we say, the cycle. So most of the things have some perspective in mind. They want to promote something. So on that basis, they basically try to ask that election commission to give that disqualifying of the candidate and voters. That means on that basis they can also say that on the basis of uh, that that under section 10A of the People's Representation Act 1951, after every general election, each candidate is informed to submit his or election return. That means how much money they have basically used as an expenditure in the. That means a limitation is there. That means an amount of 1 lakh, 2 lakh, or 3 lakh is remitted for that election. So now they have increased that amount. they have changed that particular amount system, but they have to give an audit report that these were the cost of our election, and if that particular cost is above what the prescribed by the election commission, those people are disqualified to file election. If the candidate does not file election return within a prescribed period, the election commission has power to disqualify such candidate. Section 11 of the Representation of People's Act 1951 empowers the election commission to remove any disqualification list. Under Section 11B of Representation of People Act 51, the election commission has also power to remove disqualification of the voter list. That means they can remove the they can remove the disqualification list also, and if that particular person has not given the summary or the audit of what that particular person has as a candidate has uh, used as an expenditure, so that person can be disqualified to participate, or even that person is elected. If that person is elected, then that can also be the disqualification will be there for that person. Counting of votes and declaration of result, very much important function. All you know, the votes polled at each constituency were counted under the supervision of the returning officer by counting supervisor and assistant appointed by him. There is a center in every district, or in every state there are 2 or 3 center where they have the proper security. The peoples of representation, the representative of the political parties were also there, and they basically on a particular date they decide that we will count votes, and from morning to evening they try to count votes, and after that they declare the result. So the counting of votes is very much important, and the role of these people are very much important, because the final result is collected by the returning officer at the headquarters and declare the result on approval of the election commission. When election commission said that you can declare the result, that person can declare the result after completion of the counting of the this particular. Advisory, judicial and quasi judicial functions are also there. Under the Constitution of India, the election commission has also advisory jurisdiction in the matters post election disqualification of sitting members of parliament and state legislature. That means when there is any confusion before the governor or speaker of the that particular Vidhan Sabha or speaker of the Lok Sabha or Raj Sabha, these people are basically the give idea or advisory to the speaker that whether to disqualify this person or not. So election commissioner work as an judicial advisory jurisdiction is there, and they work as an quasi judicial functions are also there. The cases person found guilty of corrupt practices at election which came before the Supreme Court or High Court are also referred to the commission for that, for opinion on the particular that this person is involved in corruption as per the election petition which I've discussed earlier also. So on that basis the the advice of the election commission was taken by the High Court and Supreme Court while deciding that particular matter. The opinion of the commission in all such matter is binding on the president or the as the case may be governor to whom such opinion is tendered. That means it is a binding nature because this person has a proper idea relating to that. The decision of the election commission under the provision of section 29A clause 7 of the Act of 1951 is in quasi judicial action. That means that person is basically doing the quasi judicial job, and he is advising the Supreme Court, High Court and president, vice president on the topics related to that disqualification of members if there is anything is like that in the on the basis of corrupt practices. Powers with regard to electoral personnel, that means how they are able to arrange so many people, because the power is vested to the election commission that they have the power to bring people from civil that means who are working in different departments to be part of their own system during election. So this power is given. The Representation of People Act of 1950 and 51 empowers the election commission to appoint electoral personnel to get necessary staff for the conduct of the election. Section 13 CC of Representation of People Act 1950 provides the chief electoral officer of the state takes disciplinary action against the person who officers who are not participating in that election function. It has also power to issue instruction on transfer of officials connected with election work during the period of election. That means whoever is participating in the election, the state election commissioner have also power to transfer people, which I have already said that if the election commission has idea that this particular deputy commissioner or DM will favor this particular political party which is in power, so they can transfer that person from that particular area. That means this power were given to the Election Commission. Delimitation of constituency, which I have discussed in the delimitation act itself, that they will change, they basically delimit the constituency. On that basis they have delimitation, they can add constituency, they can have divide constituency accordingly as per the population, and there are members related to that, and member who can be a Chief Justice of India, retired person, or the justice, senior most justice of uh, uh, Supreme Court. He will be the member. Associated members are also there. So these people basically decide the constituency, assembly constituency, or delimit the parliamentary or assembly constituency. Media policy is very much important, which you all know, that due to that reason now these uh, uh, what the these elections, before election they don't have power to issue what they have trying to, basically before election they put that these party is winning the election, or this party, that party is winning the election. This type of criteria they have removed, that after now voting, completion of voting, they you can exit poll, basically you can give the exit poll. But before that, what happened in the previous election, what happened, the exit poll come before during the election, so that can influence people also. So they have changed the concept right now. The media policy has evolved. They have also evolved that, for example, some political parties is more rich, then they can have more access to more money, so they will give more advertisement to a new channel or other news channel or other normal channels. Now what will happen if that particular situation is there? So what the election commission works, it gives it say that you should give access to every political party. It is not that if BJP is giving so much of money, if Congress is giving, you can't give opportunity to Aam Aadmi party or other party. So whatever situation is there, you have to give opportunity. Media policy is very much important, because media can influence anyone. So media policy is very much important. All you know that they have to control the media also. Executive interference is barred. That means while the election commission is performing, the executive interference is basically barred by during the election. The election schedule for the conduct of election, whether general or by election, it also decide on the location, polling station, assignment of voter to the polling station, the location of counting center, arrangement to be made in or around polling station, counting center, and all allied matter. That means the election commission will decide each and everything related to election. Executive interference is barred by the election commission. You can't say that that the DM of a particular district will decide that the voting will be in this school or that school, the polling booth will be in that particular place or that place. It all be decided by the officers of the election commission, nobody all. And after that, one of the important things, that the limit on poll expenses. That means what you are basically what expenditure you are using in the poll, you, that is very much important. That means election expenses are very much important. The election commission has always tried to get rid of growing influence and rude acting, like improper using the money during the election. Made some suggestion. You find that in many election you find that people are distributing money. There are on records they are distributing money before election, like 2 or 3 days before election, they are distributing money to people, common people. Now they are influenced by these people are poor people, they are influenced by the money, and due to that reason they give vote to some particular person. So these type of activities, the election commission, due to that they have basically try to control the expenditure. They have given and that this type of amount they can use. The commission has fixed legal limits on the amount of money which a candidate can spend during the election commission. That means the amount was basically fixed, and on that way we can say that in 2014 they have revised that particular limitation. For example, if you are a candidate, the maximum limit of election expenses for Lok Sabha constituency is 70 lakh. That means per candidate you have the limitation of 70 lakhs, 70 lakhs you can expenditure. The maximum limit is there for all state except Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, and Sikkim. That means the limit is for these three states is 70 lakh, and uh, for other it is basically 54 lakhs for the city Andhra Pradesh, and for Goa and for Sikkim it is 54 lakhs. So this is an expenditure for the Delhi, and for Delhi it is the union territory. The maximum limit is 70 lakh per candidate for the NCT of Delhi, and 54 lakh per candidate for other union territories. For Delhi they have the same expenditure which they give for other other states. That means for other state, the 70 lakh criteria is there. And for Goa, Arunachal, and Sikkim, because these states are small, so they have given 54 lakhs. And for Delhi, they have given 70 lakhs expenditure per candidate. And for other union territories, they have given only 54 lakh for the maximum limit. For assembly constituency, these are basically for the Lok Sabha. But for assembly, the limit is less. For assembly election, the maximum limit is 28 lakh per candidate for bigger state. That means bigger state, for example, for Uttar Pradesh, if you take example, so for Uttar Pradesh, it is only 28 lakh per candidate for bigger state, and for Delhi also it is 28 lakh, and 20 lakh per candidate it is for other state and union territories. For example, Puducherry, that means Pondicherry. And in Andhra Pradesh and Odisha, the limit of expenses for assembly constituency is 28 lakh, and for per candidate, and for Sikkim it is 20 lakh. So as per, there can be two criteria are there. That means one criteria is 70 lakh. That means for Lok Sabha election, it is 70 lakh. For bigger states per candidate, that means in each district, if one MP is there, if the state is bigger, if that particular city is bigger, that person has 70 lakh to per candidate, they can have the expenditure. That means he can have that 70 lakh expenditure. And if that particular state is Goa, Arunachal, or Sikkim, then the expenditure limit is only 54 lakh. So that this is I'm saying the revised term. That was lower before that. That means it is the revised of 2014. And for union territories, Delhi has given the same what the other states have, the 70 lakh criteria. And for other union territories, it is only 54 lakh. This is for the parliamentary election. And for the legislative election, the maximum limit is 20 lakh, and the minimum limit is 20. Sorry, the maximum limit is 28, and the minimum is 20 only. That means if it's Delhi and there's election is there going on, so the maximum a candidate can use as an expenditure is 28 lakh. But if it is in the case of Pondicherry or other union territories, in that case, what will happen? The expenditure will change accordingly. That is only 20 lakh. So this is the total criteria for election. So these are the functions which we can say we will of this particular topic, which the election commission and its function. I think I am clear. All of you have understood this topic. If you have any question, you can ask me. ज्योतिर्मय, अजय, एकता, सुलेखा, वंश, समझ में आ गया आप लोगों को?
Yes, sir.
आप कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछना है? भास्कर,
Yes, sir.
कुछ पूछना है आपको?
No, sir.
क्या क्या सुने बताओ हमको तो 5 मिनट में. अब हम सुनेंगे, हम 1 घंटे से ज्यादा से बोल रहे हैं, 2 घंटे से. बोलो. कोई एक आदमी कुछ तो बताओ, इतनी देर से बोल रहा है टीचर, कम से कम कुछ तो बोलोगे.
हेलो सर.
मैं बोलिए.
जी सर. सर सबसे पहले तो आपने हम लोग को स्टार्टिंग के 1 घंटे में आप सबसे पहले इलेक्शन कमीशन डिस्कस कर रहे थे और इलेक्शन कमीशन की पावर्स एंड फंक्शंस डिस्कस कर रहे थे. उसके बाद सर आप हम लोग को बेसिकली स्ट्रक्चर बता रहे थे इलेक्शन कमीशन का कि आपने जो हम लोग के साथ स्लाइड शेयर किया था उस पे MS Teams पे सर, उसमें चीफ इलेक्शन कमीशन से लेके ऑब्जर्वर, ई रोल ऑब्जर्वर, उसके बाद जो डिफरेंट पोस्ट होती है जो इलेक्शन को कंडक्ट कराते हैं, रिटर्निंग ऑफिसर की सिलेक्शन कैसे होती है सर, उन चीजों को कंप्लीट कराने के बाद सर फिर आप हम लोग को इसमें पब्लिक में मतलब जब ई रोल्स स्टार्ट होते हैं तो उसके बाद कैसे किस तरीके से प्रोसीजर्स होते हैं घर में, लाइक वहां से एज क्या होती है, उसके बाद सर छोटी छोटी चीजें जो सर ओवरऑल पूरे इलेक्शन को कंडक्ट कराने में, उसके बाद जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल वैलिडिटी होती है सर, टीचर्स को क्या प्रॉब्लम होती है इलेक्शन के टाइम पे, कब कहाँ टीचर्स को अपॉइंट किया जाता है, तो सर ये सब आप पूरा डिटेल में समझा रहे थे.
I have just given an example of teacher because I am from that field only. We are working
Yes.
in private. But the other professionals also. Even my father was in hospital, but he will have to also participate. He have to go to that particular for conducting election. He have to also travel and go. And I think most of the family member, if you have any government job, you will find that either they have went for the observer role of observer or for other
Yes.
things. So
Yes,
that
sir.
is there. That only I've given the name of teacher because teachers are basically are weaker section of the society.
Yes.
So in a way we can say so. Because I have some humanity with those people because I am in that particular upgraded version of teachers, assistant
Yes.
professors.
Yes.
So little bit. So this is for the